it's Jess. Welcome and welcome back to the Not Carrie Bradshaw YouTube channel. In this video, we are cruising right through season 2 of House of the Dragon. We're on episode 3. Let's get right into it. So on my rewatch, I realized that the theme of this episode is questioning where does war actually begin, because the episode opens with a battle between the Brackens and the Blackwoods. These are neighbors in the Riverlands who have been beefing since the first men, like since the dawn of time, to the point that no one even knows how or when or where or why their beef even started, because it has gone on for so long. And this mirrors what's happening in the quote unquote present time in King's Landing, in the battle for the Iron Throne. Who can really say what the start of this war was? Is it because Viserys named Rhaenyra his heir? Is it when Luke took Aemon's eye? Is it when Aemon killed Luke? Who can really say what the inciting incident was? But at this point, both sides have drawn blood. So now we're at war. So I think that it was really appropriate that the episode opened with the Blackwoods who declared for Rhaenyra and the Brackens who declared for Aegon. How embarrassing to talk cash money shit and then immediately get your ass beat in the field. You can't be out here talking like you Billy Badass and then you don't really show up like that in the field. That's just embarrassing. So back at Dragonstone, they're burying the twins. And Rhaenys, my good sis, she's so smart. She immediately clocks, girl, this was obviously not a scheme concocted by Otto. I don't think Otto is really in control over there. Hotter heads have prevailed, and you need to try to slide through and talk to Alicent, because you know Alicent doesn't want nuclear war any more than you do. This shit has gone far enough. Y'all need to try to come to a nice kind of peace where everybody don't have to die. And Rhaenys encourages Rhaenyra to think about how they have both been at the mercy of the men in their lives. These men have been moving them around like chess pieces their whole lives. Why don't y'all make some decisions for yourselves, right? And Rhaenyra tells her, like, I've never read these scrolls that Alicent sent. So Mysaria, meanwhile, wants to be compensated with her loyalty with a role on Rhaenyra's small council. This will give her the opportunity to vouch for the small folk in King's Landing. They need a representative. Don't nobody care about them folks. Okay, she also wants vengeance for how Otto killed some of her people in that fire that he set, and this would give her the opportunity to do that. So Rhaena is asked by Rhaenyra to flee to the Vale with her young heirs, also take this dragon, because they're going to give them an army in exchange for a dragon, appeal to the Arryns, raise my kids as far away from this shit as possible. This is the future of our house in your hands, right? Now, the bitches at the Vale do not know that this is just a hatchling of a dragon. They thinking they getting a big body, and they really just getting like a 6-shooter, okay? They are not getting what they think they're getting. No semi-automatics over here. That baby is still a baby. Now, Rhaena takes this offensively. She wants to be where the action is, and she's still sour because she's not a dragon rider. And Baela is trying to tell her, like, girl, you're like an emissary. You are a diplomat. Like, you hold the future of the family in your hands. Like, these are going to be wards of the Arryns. She's asking you to raise her children in her stead. That's a huge responsibility. It's not that nobody thinks that you're a weak ass bitch. This is just the function that you need to serve right now. Like, read the room. Child, meanwhile, Darren arrives at Harrenhal. Harrenhal is some shit. We know Harrenhal is some shit because it was melted by, I think, Balon the Dread, or one of the big ass dragons from forever ago. So most of it is melted, and the difference between the outside and the inside is a mere suggestion. It's raining inside and outside. I know it smells like mildew towels in there. So he pulls up because he done left in a huff. He pulls up ready for a tussle, and them folks was just sitting at dinner like, okay, baby, you can have this shit. Like, look around. We don't care. And this is where I fell in love with Simon Strong, because Simon Strong was like, listen, I don't give a damn like that. I got beef with the Greens because my punk ass nephew Laris had his daddy and his brother killed. Obviously, it's moist as hell in this house. We struggle to even light a fire to keep ourselves warm. So for a fire to have killed somebody in here had to intentionally be set by that weirdo. Okay, so we don't have no love for him around here. So I will pledge fealty to Rhaenyra right now. I'm also gonna call you out on the fact that you want to be referred to as, what is it, your majesty or whatever, when it's like, oh, as your grace, when really you're the king consort and a prince. Like, just because Rhaenyra is not here doesn't mean that you're now all of a sudden the HBIC, like, around here. And I love that Simon is like, what you talking about, you know? But he also was like, you get no qualms out of me, we know what we're here for. So Daemon tells him that he's there to establish Harrenhal as a stronghold. So here's what the tea is. The Riverlands are the key to winning this war. Harrenhal would be the best stronghold for whatever allies they can get. And the key to the Riverlands is Grover Tully. Well, Grover Tully been on the sick and shut-in list, so he can't even, as a liege lord, manage the feud between these families that's beefing. So they're going to have to find a way to bring these families together if the Riverlands as a whole are going to fight for Rhaenyra. So that's what the struggle is there. Meanwhile, Daemon is being haunted. Like, his paranoia is getting the best of him. He wouldn't even accept. No folks offered him a hot meal and he wouldn't even accept it because he thought they was trying to poison him. Baby, these folks don't care like that. They don't care about this castle. They just like, okay, whatever. Ain't nobody out to get you. Like, it's very weird. So he's haunted by a ghost of young Rhaenyra, who is like, I always gotta clean shit up for you. And then he meets this goth chick who is like, you gonna die here. So back in King's Landing, Alicent and Criston Cole are beefing. Alicent is pissed at Criston Cole because he came up with this fuck ass scheme with the twins, and he done took her daddy job. So the Greens consider the Blackwood Bracken battle a start to the war. Yet another, like, who can say what's what here, right? So they decide that they're going to go ahead and head to the Riverlands. They don't know that Daemon is already there. Kind of losing his mind, but whatever. They decide they're going to march to the Riverlands. And sorry. So they don't have a lot of people. They're going to march there without the dragons. Aegon, who is such a little hothead, is like, no, let's bring the dragons. Let's, you know, and it's like, first of all, you need to sit your ass down. So he gets talked into going into battle. So he's putting on this new armor, and Larys comes in like, you know they fucking with you, right? Like, they want you to go into battle so that you'll die, so that Alicent and Aemon can, like, rule when you're dead. Is that true? Yes and no. Yes and no. And I can't tell, like, what Larys's, like, end goal is here, besides being a messy bitch. So we also meet the dumbest named person in the Seven Kingdoms at this point, because the ultimate dumbest named person was Dickon in Game of Thrones. But for now, Gwaine. Why is your name Gwaine? Anyway, this is Alicent's brother, who is going to march the Riverlands with Criston Cole. He don't like Criston Cole because, again, he took his daddy's job and he looks down on him for, like, being Dornish. And it's just like, your name's Gwaine. Go to hell. So Helena, meanwhile, is trying to rationalize her grief. Like, she's like, why should I be sad in front of all these poor people? They lose their babies more than I do. And Alicent is like, girl, you just as entitled to your grief as anybody else. And then she forgives Alicent, but I don't know what for. I don't know what the forgiveness was for. So Gwaine and his men want to camp at the local Ritz-Carlton. They think they're too good to sleep on the ground with everybody else. And Criston Cole is like, bro, you might want to bring your prissy ass back around here with the rest of these folks. Just then, they peep my girl Baela, who is pushing and pumping and flushing through the sky on her dragon, and she pursues them, running them into the woods like scared little girls or whatever. And so it becomes apparent to Gwaine that, like, oh, he might know what he's doing. You think, girl? So Baela goes back and reports to Rhaenyra's small council, who does not respect her, especially in Daemon's absence. They have no respect for my girl. So they consider this to be a start to the war. Like, okay, these folks on the move, we really need to bring out our dragons before they bring out theirs. Because, again, this is like nuclear war. if both people bring out their weapons of mass destruction, everybody gonna die. So obviously, cooler heads are like, let's not break. We don't want to show ours if they gonna show their, like, who gonna go. We're playing chicken, right? And so they try to encourage Rhaenyra to go into hiding and they'll rule in her stead. That's low-key treason. And Rhaenys is like, let me remind y'all who the head bitch in charge is. It's Rhaenyra, okay? That's my people, okay? The blood of the dragon is in her, not in you. Y'all might want to calm down. So upon further review, Rhaenyra goes to Mysaria after reading one of Alicent's scrolls where she has expressed remorse. She goes to Mysaria and she says, Mysaria, can you sneak me into King's Landing? So they do. Under the cover of night, and they dress her up like a septa, and she goes and pulls up on this girl while she had the altar at church. Now, of course, Alicent is shook, okay? Like, girl, what is you doing here? You about to try to kill me, what's up? It becomes very painfully obvious to Alicent that she made a mistake, that Viserys was talking about the Song of Ice and Fire, Aegon the Conqueror, not Aegon, their child. And Rhaenyra is like, girl, you completely misunderstood. That is not what my daddy said. We need to undo this. And Alicent is like, it's too late. And the thing is, it is. You can't put the toothpaste back in the tube because, again, what started this war? The Small Council was intending to usurp or unseat Rhaenyra as soon as Viserys died anyway. So whether any of these other things took place, whether Alicent came and told them what Viserys said from her perspective, they were always planning to do this. So really nothing can be undone because what? Men, because patriarchy. And that's where we leave off. So that's episode 3. I'll be back for episode 4. I will also be talking about this interview with the Vampire series. So come back and check in with me on that. Be sure to share and like and comment. And if you like what you saw here and want to contribute to my fund to purchase my own dragon, join our Patreon, and I will talk to you guys soon. Bye.